Hi everyone, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar where we will walk through some of the basics of the RelSci platform. My name is Tara and I'm joined here by my colleagues Emily and Julie. Today's presentation will be approximately 45 minutes and you can submit any questions throughout the presentation through the chat question feature within GoToWebinar. I will also leave a few extra minutes at the end of the presentation to submit last-minute questions. If there are too many questions at the end and we don't have time to get to all of them, our team will follow up with you directly after the presentation. This webinar is designed to serve as a basic training of the RelSci platform. Whether this is your first encounter with RelSci or if you have joined as a refresher, we hope that after today's session, you are better equipped to start unleashing your organization's relationship capital. If you are interested in a more tailored one-on-one response after this webinar, feel free to reach out to your RelSci account manager. Whether you are a cause-based organization or a higher education institution, there are a number of ways that you can get value out of RelSci. Today, we will cover how to ensure that your account is set up properly, as well as an overview of some of our most utilized tools. Hold on one second. I'm just going to pull up our RelSci screen for you. Relationship Science is a business development tool that allows you and your firm to privately upload your existing network of contacts to uncover access points to firms and individuals that you don't currently have a relationship with. We have created a universe where we've profiled over 4.5 million influential individuals, such as named executives, high net worth individuals, board members, and over 1 million of their affiliated organizations, which span the public, private, nonprofit, and financial sectors. All of this information is sourced through our 300-person research team, and all of the data that you see in RelSci is publicly verified. So that means our information comes from sources like company websites, press releases, and public filings. Most importantly, we have a relationship mapping technology that sits on top of all of this data and allows you and your firm to privately map your contacts to your targets in a completely private and proprietary way. A couple of things to remember before we get started is any activity that you do in RelSci is completely private and proprietary to your firm. So anytime you go to look up an individual or you add a relationship, no one is alerted on either end. Also, you will never see any information from sources such as Facebook or LinkedIn. That is not a data source for RelSci. Lastly, you will never see any RelSci. The idea of RelSci is that you map your contacts and then you go out and reach after your contacts for that warm introduction to a potential new donor or prospect. Once you've logged into RelSci, this is going to be our main landing page that we'll see here. Right on the right-hand side, you'll see My Relationships. So out of the 4.5 million influential individuals that we have profiled, I have tagged that I know 581 of them. So who are your relationships? Who do you typically leverage when you're going after a warm introduction? Do you rely on your alumni, your board members, trustees, influential individuals in the community, top donors? These are the people you should be uploading into your contacts. If you need to update your contacts, click My Relationships. Go to the Add More Relationships feature, which is right under Relationship Management. So where do you typically store your contacts? Does your organization keep your contacts in Outlook, LinkedIn, Salesforce, or maybe you keep them in an Excel file? You can click any of these options and RelSci will give you a step-by-step guide on how to export your contacts and load them into the system. Additionally, we also have a CSV option, which is in Excel. All you need to do is have your contacts set up in our CSV template, which I'm going to click right here, and it's just going to pop up and I'll show you what it looks like. So all we need is bare minimum is first name, last name, and company affiliation. But if you have, their email or what role they are in, the more information, the better for RelSci to match. But all you need to do is, fill in these columns You're going to save the Excel as a CSV, comma delimited, and then RelSci will have a step-by-step instructions. You save it to your desktop, you choose the file you'd like to upload, click start, and then you can upload your contacts into the system. I'm going to go back to the main landing page here. So you'll always see your relationships on the right-hand side. Additionally, my colleagues have also gone into RelSci and uploaded their contacts as well. And then right here, we'll scroll down and see My 360 Alerts. So this is my News and Alerts feature. You'll also get a daily digest email first thing in the morning with your news and alerts. So I subscribe to news on my relationships, my board members, some donor lists, which you can see here that I've subscribed to. If you want to further set up your news and alerts, go to on the right-hand side where you see your name, click the drop-down, go to My Alert Settings. And what this allows you to do is customize so you get news and alerts that are most beneficial to your workflow. So right now, I subscribe to news and alerts on my relationships, as well as a variety of lists that I've created in my account, such as my member list, my California prospect list, and a few of my donor lists as well. This allows you to keep tabs on individuals in those lists, see any time that they're mentioned in the news, and potentially you can use events that happen to them as an excuse to reach out. If you plan events, you can subscribe to your event list, as well as if you are a cause-based organization and you just want to stay on top of the cause, see what's going on in the news, for example, in the cancer research realm, you can do that here as well as some topics of interest. You can click here and subscribe to news and alerts, for example, on donations and philanthropy. Another option as well is you can filter your list. So, for example, my board list, let's say, I want to be notified anytime someone on my board, has got promoted at their job, or maybe they joined another nonprofit board as well. I can go here and click Topic and do Employment and Board Changes and click Save. And now that extra filter is added onto my news and alerts. So anytime, one of my board members has an employment change or joins another board, that information will show up in my daily news and alert digest email, as well as on the main landing page in RelSci. This is great, if you would like to stay on top of your donors, or if there's any prospects or, any individuals or companies you just want to genuinely keep tabs on. We go back to our main landing page here. And then right at the top, you'll see Discover Potential Donors in Your Network. This is our donor search tool, which will flash 3 new names every 10 minutes of individuals who are located in your network and have donated to causes similar to your organization. And then right up top, at the top of the page, we have our Smart Search bar. This is where you can go in and get smart on, let's say, I'm a prospect researcher and I typically do research on high net worth individuals. I can go in and type in a name here. Or, if I focus on corporations and foundations for donations, I can also type that in here and get smart on them. I'm going to start up with Melody Hobson. Type that in, select her. So this is what an individual's profile is going to look like in relationship science. You'll see right below her name, for example, if I wanted to add her as a relationship, I could do that here. If I want to print out her profile report, I just click the report button. It'll generate a PDF. So for example, if Melody is a prospect of mine and I want, my board members to get smart on her, I can print out her profile and bring it to our next meeting. Additionally, if I want to, add Melody to my alerts, I want to know anytime she's, click this following button here and add her to my news and alerts. We'll scroll down the profile and you'll see recent 360 alerts. That's any time that Melody has been mentioned in the news over the last couple weeks. And then you'll scroll down and see my firm's paths to Melody. So right away, RelSci is taking a look at who out of my 500 plus relationships can possibly get me an introduction to Melody. She's a prospect of mine. I'd really like to get a warm introduction to her. So it looks like I've tagged that I know Kevin, and I believe Kevin knows Melody because it looks like they've overlapped at Starbucks over the last couple of years. Additionally, if that might not be the best access point, I can scroll down and see if any of my colleagues have access to Melody as well. So I'll scroll down and see, oh look, my colleagues Scott and Stanley have tagged that they know Melody. So that might be the better access point for getting a warm introduction to Melody. Anytime you see a red line with these tabs, it'll be a strong likelihood that an individual knows someone, orange will be average, and yellow will be weak. I'm going to go more into our Pathfinder tool in a little bit, but I just want to show you what information we'll pick up on an individual when you pull up their profile in RelSci. So we'll scroll down and we have family. We'll pick up education, where these individuals have gone to school, any membership organizations that they're a part of, a career history, so where they work currently, where they've worked in the past, any boards and committees they're a part of. It could be corporate, government, or nonprofit if available. So where else have they spent their time? We'll scroll down. You see any donations and grants that the individual has been a part of if it's been made public. So you will see, where do they donate their money, any political donations if available. If a person has public holdings in public companies, you can see that here. Any awards and honors, any events that they've been a part of, and that'll indicate a profile. So Melody Hobson is a very public person, so she has a very robust profile. But if you're looking up someone who maybe works for a small private company, we might not have as much information on them. Now I'm going to scroll up and we're going to go to the relationship summary page. Click See All right here on the right-hand side of Melody's profile. So Melody has not gone into RelSci and uploaded her contacts. Out of the 4.5 million influential individuals that we have profiled, we believe that Melody has access to just over 3,200 of them. So RelSci gains all this information from the public domain, and we have an algorithm that determines the likelihood of an individual knowing another person. So we take a look at, where have these people worked? What boards have they sit on? Have they been a part of deals together? What membership organizations do they sit on? And then the algorithm will take it one step further. So for example, if someone's worked at Goldman Sachs, was it currently or was it 10 years ago? How senior were these individuals when they worked there? What are the chances that they overlapped? If it's a board that they sit on, we take a look at, is it a 10-person nonprofit board or is it a 100-person corporate board? All of that goes into determining the likelihood of strong, average, or weak when determining a relationship likelihood. You can scroll down here and you'll see the full list of individuals that we believe Melody has access to. If you hover over this strong, you'll see why we believe that Melody could possibly get us an introduction to John Rogers. Looks like they've overlapped at Ariel Investment Trust. They're also on the board of the Chicago Public Education Fund, as well as in numerous other organizations where they have overlapped. So I'm going to take this one step further. Let's pretend here that, I am the Young Presidents Organization and Melody is a board member of mine. And I really want to see, where does Melody's reach go? Who can she possibly, connect me with that I didn't know she had access to? I can filter her relationship list. So for example, I am the Young Presidents Organization. I already know that she has various connections to our other board members. I can remove any relationships that are through my organization. So I type that in here, Young Presidents Organization. You can additionally, filter, I only want to see a strong and average relationship likelihood, or, if you're not interested in a certain relationship point, for example, if they did an investment deal together, and you're not interested in that, you can unclick that. And now we can apply this filter to the list of relationships. So now I have a list of Melody's relationships, and I'm excluding anyone she knows through my organization, which in this case is the Young Presidents Organization. I'm going to create this list in my account, add to list, and I'm going to call it MHRELS. Save. So once that saves, going back to, let's say I'm the Young Presidents Organization and I want to see if Melody can connect me with some of my prospects, I can click right into our Pathfinder tool, which maps any entity to any entity, and I can type in, from Melody's relationships with that list I just created to my top prospect list, and click Show Paths. Oh, well, it looks like, John Bryan, who is one of Melody's relationships, he's also on my prospect list. So that's a really good use case of where I can uncover, oh, Melody already has an existing relationship with one of my prospects. Maybe she can get that warm introduction to John for me. The same happened with Susan Whiting. It looks like, Melody is already connected with her and she's on my prospect list. Additionally, I can scroll down. It looks like, Melody knows Robert Bass, and Robert Bass knows John Finley, who's on our prospect list, and we believe that they know each other because it looks like they've overlapped at BlackRock, as well as done a variety of deals together there as well. So that's just one workflow example of what you could do here in RelSci. I'm just going to go back. Additionally, let's say, I work for a nonprofit, and I typically go after corporations and foundations. I can go to this smart search bar and type in a foundation of interest. So right now I'm going to type in the Ford Foundation. And now I can pull up the profile and get smart on this company. So let's say, I want to add the Ford Foundation to my news and alerts. They're on my watch list. I would just click this follow button here. And now they're included, anytime I get my daily news and alerts email. Scroll down, you'll see recent 360 alerts. That's anytime the Ford Foundation has been mentioned in the news. We'll scroll down and see my firm's paths to the Ford Foundation. So who out of my existing network of contacts can possibly get me an introduction to someone influential at the Ford Foundation? So it looks like I've tagged that I know Cecil Richards, who's on the board of trustees at the Ford Foundation. Maybe I know this person's really busy. I don't think she's going to be able to help me. I can scroll down and see maybe one of my colleagues might have an interesting access point to the foundation as well. It looks like Thomas, my colleague, has tagged that he knows Marshall, who's also on the board of trustees there. Or my colleague Scott has tagged that he knows Darren, who's the president of the foundation. So that might be a better access point. We're going to scroll down. You can see, a quick description of the foundation, key personnel, who works there, who their board members are, and any of these blue names are completely clickable. So if you want to get smart on a certain executive, you can go in, click the name, and you'll pull up their individual RelSci profile. Scroll down, you'll see their board, any advisors and consultants who have worked with the foundation, some of the individuals who've advised them, on those deals, as well as some nonprofit donations and grant info. So, where has the Ford Foundation spent their money, as well as some of their members and any investments that they've been a part of, as well as sponsorships. So this is what the profile page will look like when you pull up a foundation. You can also print out all of this information as well. If you just scroll to the top and you click our report button, it'll create a PDF report for you. So now we're going to scroll down. We're going to go into our next tool, which is Pathfinder, which is like the bread and butter of our tool. So we'll click See All Paths. So our Pathfinder tool maps any entity to any entity. Currently, we have it set up as mapping my firm's contacts to the Ford Foundation. How can I get a warm introduction to someone who works at the Ford Foundation? Like I said previously, anytime you see a red line, that'll be a strong likelihood. Orange will be average, and yellow will be weak. We can change up this from and to. So for example, let's say I'm a nonprofit, and I want to see, can any of my donors connect me with any of my prospects? I can go to top donors and type in my top prospects list. Click Show Paths. And hopefully I can uncover some really interesting access points here. This would be a great time if you've had any questions that have arisen so far. Please don't hesitate to type some questions into the question feature within GoToWebinar. We will get to all of your questions. Donor list to my top prospect list. So I can scroll down here and look like, oh, Melissa, who's previously donated to my foundation, connected to James, who is on my prospect list, and they know each other because it looks like they're currently on the board of the Citizens Budget Commission as well as the Urban Land Institute. This could be a really warm introduction to donor Melissa. I can also scroll through and see, oh, currently on the board of Dream It Ventures together. I can kind of scroll down here and see, oh, access points that my top donors have to my top prospect list. Additionally, if you ever wanted to print out one of these path reports, to bring to your next team meeting, we click this report button right here. Do the drop down. You can select a PDF report or a CSV, which is an Excel grid. You can select, I only want to see the top 10 or top 25 paths for my report, and you can print that out here. Additionally, we also have a filter option. So if we click this filter button, for example, let's say, you're running a path and you already know that a group of these people are connected. Let's say they're all on the board of the American Cancer Society together, and that's clogging up your report. You already know about those connection points. I can remove paths exclusively through an organization. I can type in American Cancer Society. And select that here. Additionally, as well, if there's maybe certain path types that you're not interested in, for example, I don't think someone that knows someone through an LP investment deal is the best use case for me. I can uncheck that here as well. You can also filter through people. So for example, maybe there's someone that's really busy. They're not going to be helpful in letting you get that warm introduction to someone new. You can move paths exclusively through that individual. You would click apply, and now these custom parameters are going to be applied to your path report. Additionally, RelSci can help you generate prospect lists as well. So next up, we're going to click into our Power Search tool. Our Power Search tool is our most popular prospecting tool, and what it allows you to do is look for individuals or corporations that fit a certain criteria. And you can look based on a variety of things such as, location, career board, education, investment and public holdings. You can look at people based on their compensation, any donations they've made, are they a part of membership organizations. You can search through a wide variety of criteria of what fits best for your organization. So first up, let's say, I'm a foundation, I'm located in New York, and I raise money for cancer research. And, I want to find donors who are located in the New York area. So what I would do when I come to Power, I'll type in New York. Let's say, I really want these people to have a large capacity to donate. So I'm going to look for people who are C-suite and senior level management. Select that here under Career Board. And now I'm going to, so I want people who have previously been involved, with this cause. So I can show donors to an organization, or I can pick a cause. So I'm going to pick cancer research here. And now I'm going to scroll down and click. So now what Power Search is doing is it's looking through the RelSci database, who out of those 4.5 million individuals that we have profiled, fits the criteria where they're located in New York, they're a C-suite and senior level executive, and they've donated to cancer research in the past. So on the left-hand side, you'll see we have 156 people who fit that criteria. Our first one is Jamie Dimon. He lives in New York. He's the CEO of JP Morgan, and he's donated to cancer research previously. And then on the opposite side, you'll see my shortest path, to get an introduction, to Jamie Dimon through your network. I can kind of scroll down here and see, who fits the criteria. Let's say, going forward, this is going to be my prospect list. This is what I'm going to be working on for the next couple months. I can click Add to this list feature right here. And once it pops up, I can name it, New York cancer donors. I can turn on alerts for this list as well. Let's say I want to be notified anytime these individuals are mentioned in the news. I want to see what they've been up to. I can click Save. And now that list will be in my account. It'll be saved in that list feature right on the top-hand side, which counts as a folder, and all my lists that I create in RelSci are stored there. Additionally, you can also print out this report as well, if you want to bring it to your next meeting. Another option that we have in Power Search is that you can search for organizations that fit a certain criteria as well. You just go up to the left-hand side. We're going to click the Organizations tab. And you can also, look for organizations based on a variety of criteria, such as, where they're located, what industry do they work in, do they have any investments, how many employees they have, what their annual revenue is, or, where have they donated to in the past. So let's say, I'm a university, I'm located in Atlanta, and I'm looking for corporations who have previously donated to higher education and universities and are located where the school is. So for location, I would type in Atlanta. Scroll down, charitable cause. I'm going to type in higher education and universities. Now I'm going to scroll and click search, and let's see, what RelSci can come up with. Oh, look, there's 220 organizations who are located in Atlanta and have donated to higher education and universities previously. So on the left-hand side, you'll see, who those companies are, why did they come up in my search, because they have an office in Atlanta, and this is where they've donated previously. And then on the opposite side, you'll see, your shortest path to get an introduction to someone influential at that organization. You can do the same thing as we did before. Let's say this is your prospect list moving forward. These are the target corporations that you really want to go after. Just click that Add to List button. We can save it as, target corporations. I can turn alerts on. I want to be notified anytime these companies are mentioned in the news. Click Save. And now I have that list in my account. Additionally, if this is a search you think you're going to be doing a lot, you can also save searches in RelSci. You just click this little Save button right here where the folder is, and you can name the search. This is, corporate. I can go in and open up this search, and I don't all the time. Just makes your life a little bit easier while using the tool. Next up is another prospecting tool that we have. It's called Donor Fit Clients. This allows you to prospect for individuals and cast a much wider net to causes similar to your organization, maybe they have worked at. You can look by organization or cause. So let's say, I am a hospital. I'm located in the Denver area, and I'm looking for individuals who have donated to medical research. So for location, I can type in Denver, select that for charitable cause. I want people who are affiliated with medical research. I can click medical research and advocacy and click show donors. $105 people who fit that criteria, that they are located in the Denver area and they have donated to medical research and advocacy. Moving forward, this could be a prospect list of mine. I'm a hospital. I really want to get these individuals involved with us. So I'll see on the left-hand side, why they came up on my search, and then on the opposite side, I'll see my shortest path, to get an introduction to these individuals. And it looks like I have some pretty interesting access points to uncover through a variety of my colleagues. Let's say, I want to create this as a list, same option that we did before. Click that Add to List, and it'll be saved Additionally, you can also report or a CSV as well. And then next up is RSVP search. So for those organizations, who plan events or galas, this is a great place to start your research. So let's say, I am New York Presbyterian Hospital. I'm going to type in my organization right here and click Explore. So what RSVP search is doing now, who are connected to New York Presbyterian Hospitals, C-suite and senior management, who are my board members connected to, who are my top donors connected to, and it's going to curate a list of people based off of these for my invitee list. So it looks like you have a large number of individuals in New York Presbyterian Hospital network. So you see on the left-hand side, you have Rex Tillerson. Why did he come up on? Like Rex is connected to Andrea Jung, who's a donor of a couple of members of our board of trustees. So we believe that, Rex could be a possible invitee to our next event due to his connections, with people who are affiliated to the hospital. 4,900 is a really large list. I want to try to, filter that down. Since we are a New York-based hospital, I'm going to click this filter button right here, and I really only am interested in people who are in the New York area. I'm going to click for location. I'm going to type in New York. And since we are a hospital, I'm really only interested in individuals who have been previously affiliated with hospitals and health centers. I'm going to click Apply. And now RSVP search is applying those filters to that list of individuals. Additionally, if any new questions have come up, please feel free to submit them through our GoToWebinar question chat feature. I'm sorry guys, a little bit longer to load all of our information. Information loads, you'll see the new list with those filters that we applied. And then, let's say moving forward, this list is people I want to start with inviting to my next gala over the next couple of months. I would just click this add to button to that event, and what it will do, here we go. Now the filter is applied. Who are located in New York have been previously affiliated, with the hospitals and health centers. So moving forward, this is my event attendee list. I'm going to click this Add To button, and instead of the list option, I'm going to click Event. And now what this does is, let's say, this is my gala event list. I can click Save and View Event. So now what this does is it pulls up my list in my Events tool right here, which acts as a folder. All of your event lists will be saved in this one place right here. It's a great way to stay organized. Our last tool that I have to show you today is Relationship Discovery. This is one of our more complex tools. And it's great for anyone who does long-term planning or strategic prospecting. Imagine if you could get, all of your top donors and their contact lists and combine them together, put them into RelSci. You might be able to uncover some really interesting access points if you had that all of that information. Realistically, that's really difficult to do, but we can do that here in RelSci. So if you just click this change button right here at the top, you can default to, who am I looking at? Do I want to see, who do my top donors have connections to? You can change it to your board members or, your organization's relationships. And you can select first degree, which will show who anyone, my donors are directly connected to, or second degree, so who they can get me a warm introduction to. That's usually the most interesting access point. And I'm looking for individuals who are board, C-suite, or other. I can click apply, and now those parameters are going to be applied to my relationship discovery report. Once that loads, I'm going to click explore the relationships right down here. And now I see, who my donors have access to based off of industries that these individuals work in. So you can go on the left-hand side and hover through and look, oh, my donors have access to a variety of people who are in higher education, university, as well as, private equity and venture capital, also investment services. And I can kind of scroll through here and look at this chart and see, oh, who do we have access to? So for example, as I go down, let's say, ooh, hedge funds. That would be really interesting. Maybe as a foundation, I'm looking for people who have a high capacity to donate. Who do we know in the hedge fund space? Maybe one of my donors can make me an introduction to a hedge fund manager, and maybe I can get them to donate to us in the future. So I just click hedge funds, and now it's showing me by organization. I can kind of hover over the line. Looks like we have strong connections at Main Management LLC. I can kind of scroll down here and see, what other hedge funds my donors can possibly get me an introduction to. I'm going to scroll back up to the top and click into Main Management LLC, and it looks like, my donors have access to, 2 people who are on the board there, and then it'll show you my strongest path to get an introduction, to those individuals who work at this particular hedge fund. I can click Report, and, I can go back into there as well. Additionally, in our relationship discovery report, you can filter. So right now I'm looking at, who my donors have access to based off of what industry they work in. But let's say if I go to the top here, I can select location or role. So, if I'm really only interested in individuals that are located in a certain area, I can click location. And now it's going to populate and show me, where do my donors have the most reach? It looks like we have a lot of connection points of people who work in New York City, as well as Washington, D.C. and San Francisco. So I can hover over the chart, and it's the same thing. You can click a city of interest and see, where do your donors get you a warm introduction to people who work in these cities. That is our relationship discovery tool. A couple of other features I want to go over, with the RelSci platform is this RelSci services button. So let's say, you're looking for an individual and there's a particular data point you don't see. If you click this profile requests and data errors, you can type in, I'm looking at Warren Buffett. Is there more donation information available on him? Our research team will go out, scour the public domain once they get your request, and they'll send you an email in 2 to 3 business days, with an updated link. We've looked into Warren Buffett. Here's the more information we found with the link included. Additionally, if you have maybe a group of people, that you've worked with and they're not profiled in RelSci and you think they'd really be useful, for your organization to have profiled in the system, if you just submit as much information as you know about them. For example, I'm looking for George Smith. He works at PricewaterhouseCoopers. He's a tax partner there. Please send in that information to our research team. They can go out, scour the public domain, and hopefully create a profile, for that person. And we will send you, an update with the link if we were able to do that. Also, as a part of your RelSci subscription, you have access to our full-service client support team. If you click this contact button here, they're located in our New York office. So for example, if you can't get a hold of your account manager and you just have a quick question, they're happy to help. You can call, email, or live chat them. You can help them with anything such as, I got locked out of my account, can you help me get back in? Or, I'm running a Pathfinder report and I just want to make sure that I'm doing this all in the correct way. Within our RelSci webinar, this concludes, our presentation. I'm going to wait a couple minutes, let any last-minute questions come through, and then we're going to start our All right, everyone, now we're going to start off our question and answer session. My colleague Emily is going to, tell you some of our questions, and I will answer them for you. Keep in mind, those that are still on the line, that if you do think of any questions as we're going through this session, feel free to continue to type them through our chat feature and we'll get to them as well. Okay, so the first question we have is, how can I get a list of our 50 top donors added as a list externally in an Excel on my desktop? And then additionally, what are some of the best ways to utilize this donor list in RelSci? So if you wanted to add a new prospect list into RelSci, what I would do is go over here, click our list tool, and then if you have it in Excel, that template that we pulled up additionally, at first when we uploaded contacts, you want to make sure that you have the updated information. So if we click this upload file to list, our CSV template is right here. You can download it. You want to make sure that you fill out your prospect information. Do you have your prospects' names? Where do they work? Their email addresses? Fill out this list. Save it in Excel as a CSV, delimited. Save it to your desktop, and then you're going to click Choose File. You're going to upload. Click your list that you just saved. Click Upload, and now that list, you'll walk through the process. You can save that list. It'll additionally be here. Let's say, I click my prospect list. I'll pull up one here just to show you. If I click my Boston prospect list, for example, let's say I want to be notified anytime my prospects are in the news. Right here, I'm going to turn those on, so that way I can keep tabs of anyone who's, mentioned in addition to that Pathfinder tool that we any my firm, and I would type into that prospect list that I just created. Click Show Paths and see what insights can I uncover. Great. Okay, so the next question, for the relationship discovery feature, if you are looking at connections based on city, how strict are the location parameters? For example, Washington, D.C. is very small. Would it include the whole D.C. metro area? So when you're looking at anything that's location-based in RelSci, I'll click into our relationship discovery tool here. But we do a city, and we also look at the 10 miles that surround that city. So if you're looking at Washington, D.C., we'll also look at anyone that's located 10 miles outside of that city. The same goes for if you're ever generating a prospect list and you're looking for individuals who are located in Atlanta. We will include people who are 10 miles outside. Okay, great. Another question. So I have a number of lists of prospects that I follow for each of our gift officers. Is there any way that I can get all of the news and alerts on these individuals in separate emails so that I can more easily forward them around to the officers that care about a particular prospect list? Oh, absolutely. We're going to go to the alert emails based on the variety of lists that you subscribe to. It'll be separate, so then if you ever need to forward something along to one of your gift officers, it's a little bit easier for you. My organization has several users on our account. If one user creates a list, can other users access it? We want to be able to share our list. Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll click into our list feature right here. For example, the first one, it's individuals who have X amount in public shares. If I want my colleagues to see this list, I just click the share button right here on the right hand side. I click the group that we're with, and that will be shared with your colleagues. If it's the development team or the gift officers or your research team, that'll go in here as well. So
an additional question. I was wondering if I can turn off an alert for an individual on a list that is clogging up my 360 alert feed and email digest.
Absolutely. So what you can do, for example, is if you're in a list, you can hover over that person's name. You know, for example, let's turn alerts on for this list. So, you know, let's say Alex Porter, he's involved in a lot of different ventures. He keeps, you know, coming up. All I have to do is just unclick this following button, and now I will no longer get alerts on Alex Porter.
Perfect. And then the final question, is this webinar recorded so that I can send it to my colleagues who couldn't attend today?
Absolutely. So this webinar is recorded in our follow-up email. We will send you a link to it. It will also be available on our RelSci YouTube channel. So you can share it with your colleagues who are unable to attend today's webinar.
Okay, everyone. So that will conclude our Q&A session of this webinar. We thank you for taking the time to attend today and hope that this plot you in your efforts to better utilize RelSci. Keep a lookout for a follow-up email with, as Tara mentioned, the recorded webinar information about our future.
Additionally, if you have any questions, tailored training, and we will see you all soon.